So in just a moment, I'm going to read you a comment that was left on my channel just the other day. Now, this comment, this is showing what people are going through. This is a massive problem because millions and millions of people are paying for something that they did not expect. Today, I'm going to break down what's going on, but this is devastating. So all I ask is one thing, takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So here's what's going on. Hurricane Helene. There are now 6 deaths that have been recorded, and there's 3 million people without power. This is as of this morning. What you need to understand is that hurricane season runs between June 1st and November 30th. Now, here's the reason why this is so important. Many people have not prepared, have not bought food and other supplies to prepare for hurricanes or wildfires or whatever natural disaster may be thrown at us. But I want to read this comment to you. Listen to this, because again, this is devastating. It says, Adam, what do I do? The hurricane is coming and we are being told to evacuate the area, but we don't have the money to do that. I spent the last of our money to board up the windows and prepare for the storm. Any help would be appreciated. Now, I haven't heard anything back. Obviously, those people in Florida and over in the southeast, they don't have power. Okay, about 3 million people are without power. Just look at this. So this is Florida right here. So 1.1 million people without power. In Georgia, almost 1.1 million people without power. In South Carolina, almost 1.4 million people without power. Here in North Carolina, about 600,000 people without power. In Tennessee, about 51,000. Got Kentucky, 13,000. And then Virginia, about 50,000. Okay. A lot of people without power. But here's the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention. Just like this person asked, what do you do if you don't have the money to leave the area? You don't have the money to evacuate, and again, a lot of people don't. This is a huge issue. One emergency management official told people that are staying behind in Florida that you should get a permanent marker and write your name on your arm. Write your birth date on your arm. Even write your address or even a phone number. Okay? So that people know who you are, where you are from. Because again, if you just write down your name and your birth date, yes, emergency management could and police officers, fire department, whatever, they could locate where you last lived. But also if you write down your address, maybe even the amount of people that were staying with you, that's what they're asking. That you need to be prepared so that if you don't make it through, they can actually locate you. They can locate your next of kin. They can figure out and who to tell that, yes, this person is no longer with us. But here's the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention. Because millions of people are going to pay for this. Millions are going to pay. You think FEMA has the money to pay for all these emergencies, whether it's a natural disaster or not? No. Right? Is FEMA getting just boatloads of money from the U.S. government? They're getting some, but in most cases, it's not enough. If you look at the disasters that we've had, the wildfires we've had over here in Washington, Oregon, even California over the past few months, you think FEMA's paying for all that? No. Think they'll help out a little bit? Yeah. But here's why people aren't ready. Doesn't matter if it's a hurricane, a tornado, an earthquake. It could be a wildfire. It could be something else. Okay? Just a big windstorm. People aren't ready to pay for damage. Okay? We don't have even $1,000. 40% of Americans do not even have $1,000 to cover an emergency. Just $1,000. So they can't pay for damage. You think they can afford to lose a day or potentially a week or a month of work because their business that they were working at got wiped away? It's flood damage. And so they got to go on unemployment? Yeah, it's going to be tough. They could potentially make it. But you think people have enough money for travel expenses and food and lodging and gas to get out of the state? A friend of mine went from Florida to New Orleans. Him and his family just decided to go there, get out of the state, just be safe, and then they'll come back when the water's gone, when the threat is not there. There's no presence of threat. But listen to this comment right here. Because again, I'm not saying that I did anything here, but listen to what this person says. This person wrote to me and says, and I quote, "My family was really lucky as our home was flooded last night. I took your advice more than 2 years ago and established an emergency fund. It was that very fund that we used to travel from Florida to Louisiana and be able to stay with family. We don't have a lot of money, but we were able to pay for fuel and food using our emergency fund as a tool. Thank you for what you have done for us. You really are a lifesaver." This is just something that some people were able to do, other people were not. Again, we're still getting reports as to the death toll from Hurricane Helene, but the one thing I can tell you is for the people that made it out, people that used credit cards, borrowed money, just drove as far away as they could on whatever tank of gas they had and stayed as whatever hotel, motel, whatever they could find, great. But what's going to happen when they come back? How difficult is it going to be when they come back to the state of Florida or South Carolina or even North Carolina? But here's what I can tell you. When people come back to the state and they come back to a home that's been wrecked, many people, because of the rise in insurance costs, they didn't have car insurance. They didn't have homeowners insurance. So now we're about to see people are going to be hurt, financially impacted, because now they didn't have a security blanket like insurance. They don't have someone that is going to pay to replace all their belongings, their car that they need to get to and from work that maybe they had to leave, right? Flooded, damaged, right? Totaled. So this is what we're about to see. And the reason why I bring this to your attention is because most people, they don't think this far ahead. They think one day at a time, 1 week at a time. How can I save a little bit of money? How can I get to next week or next month, or I just need to get through the holiday season because I need to be able to buy gifts? This is an issue. This is a huge, huge issue. Now, I've received probably dozens of comments over the past 24 or 48 hours. A lot of this has to do with people weren't prepared. We weren't prepared for a hurricane of this magnitude. We weren't prepared for flooding, the storm surge, right? We weren't prepared for all this stuff. But now the reality sets in that, okay, I didn't have insurance. I didn't have an emergency fund. I don't have access to any funds through a credit card. Right? What do I do? This is the problem, is now people are going to be tasked with figuring out the next step. And again, I bring this to your attention because it doesn't matter if it's in Florida, it's in the Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia. It doesn't matter if you're over in that area or if you're in the state of California, Oregon, Washington, and you go through wildfires, right? It doesn't matter, because the people that are prepared and planned for it and knew eventually someday they're going to go through this, those are the ones that are make it out okay. It's the people that didn't realize how bad things could get, didn't realize that they don't just have to pay for gas and food and lodging to get out of the state, but how do they get back? And when they come back, how do they replace all their belongings? How do they replace their home, their car, a loved one? Again, for people that couldn't get out, and so the person that wrote to me and saying that they used all their money to board up their home, to put boards up over the windows. I get it. But at the same time, was that money well spent, or should that family have just left? Again, I live in Washington State, so we don't deal with hurricanes or anything like that, but we have wildfires. And in the event of a wildfire, my family and I have a plan. But again, it's a plan. We have emergency funds. We have things that, just in case, we can replace. But the one thing you can't replace is a life. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I do think this is devastating. Hopefully you hear back from that person. But we'll see. Again, millions and millions of people are going to pay for this. It's just a matter of time. So we'll see what happens moving forward as we get more information on this storm, was hurricane. As we get more information on this, the death tolls, the ramifications of this, the estimated losses, I promise I will bring you that news and those updates as soon as we get them. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.